Private First Class Maya. Chun would prove that the most devastating force on any battlefield isn't always the one with the biggest muscles or the loudest voice. Sometimes it's the quiet determination of someone who refuses to accept the limitations others place on them. Her compact 5'12" frame would soon carry more than just equipment through hostile territory. It would carry the hopes of survival for 3 fallen comrades and forever change how an entire military unit viewed physical strength. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The morning heat pressed down on Camp Razorback like a suffocating blanket, turning the Iraqi desert into a furnace that tested even the most seasoned soldiers. Dust devils danced across the barren landscape while the distant mountains shimmered through waves of rising heat. Inside the forward operating base, the air conditioning units worked overtime against temperatures that regularly climbed past 115 degrees Fahrenheit, creating a constant mechanical hum that became the soundtrack to military life in this unforgiving environment. Maya adjusted the straps of her pack for the 100th time that morning, her small hands working methodically to distribute the 60-pound load across her shoulders and hips. The regulation gear felt oversized on her petite frame, designed for soldiers with broader backs and longer torsos than her compact build provided. Her fellow infantry soldiers had long since stopped offering to carry extra weight for her, not out of cruelty, but because Maya had made it clear from day one that she wouldn't accept special treatment based on her size. The weapons maintenance bay buzzed with the familiar sounds of military preparation. Soldiers stripped down rifles, cleaned mortar tubes, and organized ammunition with the practiced efficiency that kept them alive in a combat zone where mechanical failure could mean the difference between coming home and becoming a casualty statistic. Maya worked alone at her station, her small fingers moving with surprising dexterity as she disassembled her M4 carbine completely, inspecting each component with the thoroughness that had become her trademark. Staff Sergeant Jake Morrison watched Maya's meticulous work from across the bay, shaking his head with the mixture of amusement and frustration that characterized most interactions with the unit's smallest soldier. Morrison stood 6 feet 4 inches tall and carried nearly twice Maya's body weight in pure muscle, earned through years of powerlifting and football before joining the Army. His presence dominated any room he entered, and his booming voice could be heard across the entire base when he called formations or issued orders. Morrison had initially opposed Maya's assignment to the 2nd Infantry Division's reconnaissance unit, arguing that forward operations required soldiers who could handle the physical demands of extended patrols through hostile territory. Combat missions involved carrying heavy equipment across difficult terrain, while maintaining the alertness necessary to detect and respond to enemy threats. The mathematics seemed simple. Smaller soldiers carried proportionally heavier loads, tired more quickly, and created tactical liabilities that could endanger entire units during critical operations. Corporal Brad Williams shared Morrison's skepticism about Maya's suitability for reconnaissance work, though his concerns focused more on unit cohesion than pure physical capability. Williams had earned his leadership position through demonstrated competence in urban warfare scenarios, where his tactical thinking and quick decision-making had saved lives during multiple deployments. His experience suggested that effective military units required members who could contribute equally to mission success, without creating additional burdens that forced other soldiers to compensate for individual limitations. Specialist Danny Torres approached Maya's workstation with the casual confidence of someone who had appointed himself the unit's unofficial morale officer. Torres possessed the rare ability to find humor in even the most challenging military situations, using comedy to diffuse tension and maintain group cohesion during stressful periods. His jokes about Maya's size had become a regular feature of daily life at Camp Razorback, delivered with apparent affection but carrying underlying implications about her place within the unit's hierarchy. Torres examined Maya's weapon maintenance setup with exaggerated amazement, commenting loudly enough for nearby soldiers to hear his observations about how her small hands seemed perfectly designed for detail work that larger soldiers might find challenging. His tone suggested admiration for her mechanical skills, while simultaneously reinforcing perceptions that Maya's value lay in supporting roles rather than direct combat applications. The subtle distinction wasn't lost on Maya, who had learned to recognize the difference between genuine respect and condescending appreciation. Private Martinez joined the gathering around Maya's workstation, his genuine curiosity about her techniques contrasting sharply with the casual mockery that typically characterized such interactions. Martinez had developed sincere respect for Maya's technical knowledge and attention to detail, recognizing skills that contributed meaningfully to unit readiness, even if they didn't directly address concerns about physical capability in combat situations. His questions about her maintenance procedures reflected professional interest rather than social dynamics. Maya's weapon cleaning kit contained tools and supplies that reflected her systematic approach to equipment management. Where other soldiers relied on standard military cleaning kits, Maya had assembled specialized implements that allowed her to access areas that conventional tools couldn't reach effectively. Her cleaning solutions included products that weren't typically issued through military supply channels, purchased with her own money to achieve maintenance standards that exceeded official requirements. The conversation around Maya's workstation gradually attracted additional soldiers who had finished their own maintenance tasks and were drawn by the informal gathering that Torres had initiated. These interactions served multiple purposes within the unit's social structure, providing opportunities for relationship building, information sharing, and the establishment of group dynamics that would influence behavior during actual combat operations. Maya understood her role in these social rituals, participating enough to maintain unit cohesion while avoiding behaviors that might be interpreted as attempts to prove herself through confrontation. Sergeant First Class Rebecca Santos observed the group dynamics from her position near the armory entrance, her experienced eye evaluating interactions that could affect unit performance during upcoming missions. Santos had served 3 previous deployments in leadership positions that required managing diverse groups of soldiers under challenging conditions. Her assessment of Maya focused less on physical attributes and on psychological factors that determine soldier effectiveness under extreme stress. Santos recognized qualities in Maya that weren't immediately apparent to soldiers, who focused primarily on obvious physical characteristics. Maya's methodical approach to preparation, her willingness to exceed minimum standards, and her calm response to social pressure suggested psychological resilience that could prove valuable during crisis situations. Combat effectiveness depended on multiple factors beyond pure physical capability, including mental toughness, technical competence, and the ability to maintain performance under conditions that tested every aspect of human endurance. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The equipment inspection continued with Maya demonstrating her knowledge of weapon systems and maintenance procedures that exceeded what most soldiers learned during basic training. Her understanding of mechanical principles allowed her to identify potential problems before they affected weapon reliability, a skill that had prevented equipment failures during previous training exercises. This technical expertise represented genuine value that contributed to overall unit capability, though it didn't address persistent questions about her ability to perform under the physical demands of extended combat operations. Morrison's evaluation of Maya's performance remained focused on scenarios that would test physical endurance and strength in realistic combat environments. Reconnaissance missions typically involved movements across hostile territory while carrying full combat loads, equipment that could weigh over 80 pounds when including ammunition, communication gear, medical supplies, and specialized reconnaissance tools. The physics seemed unforgiving. Maya's body weight of barely 110 pounds meant she would be carrying nearly 3/4 of her own weight in equipment, while maintaining the mobility necessary for stealth operations. The morning briefing session provided additional context for evaluating individual soldier capabilities within the unit's upcoming operational requirements. Intelligence reports indicated increased enemy activity in sectors that would require extended patrols through mountainous terrain, where elevation changes and difficult footing would multiply the physical challenges of carrying heavy equipment. Mission planning emphasized the importance of maintaining unit cohesion and mutual support during movements that could extend over multiple days without resupply opportunities. Captain Lisa Rodriguez entered the maintenance bay with the purposeful stride that characterized her leadership style, her presence immediately focusing attention on official business rather than informal social interactions. Rodriguez commanded the reconnaissance unit with authority earned through demonstrated competence in previous combat deployments, where her tactical decisions had consistently achieved mission objectives while minimizing casualties. Her evaluation of individual soldiers balanced multiple factors that contributed to overall unit effectiveness. Rodriguez had initially shared concerns about Maya's assignment to the reconnaissance unit, though her objections were based on practical considerations, rather than philosophical positions about women in combat roles. The captain's experience suggested that unit effectiveness depended on ensuring that all members could contribute equally to mission success, without creating additional burdens that compromised operational security or tactical flexibility. Physical capability represented one component of this analysis, but not the only factor that determined soldiers' suitability for specialized assignments. Maya's performance during training exercises had gradually modified Rodriguez's initial assessment, though significant questions remained about her ability to maintain effectiveness during extended operations under combat conditions. Training scenarios, however realistic, couldn't perfectly replicate the psychological and physical stresses that characterized actual combat missions. The captain's responsibility for unit safety required conservative approaches to personnel, assignments that minimized risks while maximizing the probability of mission success. The weapons inspection proceeded with Rodriguez examining each soldier's equipment and maintenance standards, evaluating both technical competence and attention to detail that indicated broader approaches to military professionalism. Maya's weapon passed inspection with commendations for cleanliness and proper maintenance, earning recognition that reinforced her reputation for exceeding minimum standards in areas where individual effort could compensate for physical limitations. Rodriguez's evaluation extended beyond immediate weapon condition to encompass broader questions about soldier readiness for upcoming operations. The captain's questioning focused on Maya's understanding of mission requirements, knowledge of enemy tactics, and preparation for scenarios that would test multiple aspects of soldier capability simultaneously. These interactions provided opportunities for Rodriguez to assess psychological readiness alongside technical competence. Maya's responses demonstrated comprehensive understanding of reconnaissance procedures, enemy threat assessments, and tactical principles that would guide decision-making during actual operations. Her preparation included studying terrain maps, weather patterns, and intelligence reports with thoroughness that exceeded typical soldier preparation for training exercises. This intellectual engagement with mission requirements suggested dedication that could potentially compensate for physical limitations during actual operations. The morning equipment check revealed additional aspects of Maya's systematic approach to military preparation. Her personal gear reflected careful selection and organization that maximized functionality while minimizing weight, addressing physical limitations through intelligent choices rather than simply accepting standard equipment configurations. Her modifications to standard gear demonstrated creative problem-solving that could benefit other unit members facing similar challenges with equipment optimization. Morrison acknowledged Maya's technical competence while maintaining reservations about her physical capability during extended operations. His experience in multiple combat deployments provided perspective on the cumulative effects of carrying heavy loads across difficult terrain, where even large soldiers experienced significant fatigue that affected performance and decision-making. The mathematical reality seemed inescapable. Smaller soldiers would reach physical limitations more quickly, potentially creating tactical vulnerabilities during critical mission phases. Williams contributed his own observations about Maya's performance during recent training exercises, noting her ability to maintain pace during shorter movements, while expressing concerns about her endurance during extended operations. His tactical background provided insight into mission scenarios where individual physical limitations could affect overall unit performance, particularly during emergency situations that required rapid movement across hostile territory. The balance between individual capability and collective security remained a persistent concern. Torres attempted to lighten the serious evaluation atmosphere with jokes about Maya's equipment modifications, suggesting that her creative approaches to gear optimization demonstrated intelligence that could benefit the entire unit. His humor served its typical function of reducing tension, while indirectly acknowledging Maya's contributions to unit capability. The underlying message suggested that Maya's value lay in supporting roles rather than direct combat applications, though this assessment reflected social dynamics rather than objective evaluation of her military capabilities. Santos provided a different perspective based on her experience managing diverse groups of soldiers under combat conditions. Her observations emphasized psychological factors that often proved more important than pure physical capability during actual operations. Combat effectiveness depended on mental toughness, adaptability, and the ability to maintain performance under extreme stress, qualities that weren't directly related to body size or obvious physical strength. Martinez asked specific questions about Maya's training performance and preparation methods, seeking to understand techniques that might improve his own readiness for upcoming operations. His genuine interest in learning from Maya's systematic approach reflected recognition that different soldiers developed effective methods through diverse backgrounds and perspectives. This collaborative attitude suggested possibilities for positive unit dynamics that could enhance overall effectiveness. The equipment inspection concluded with Maya receiving official recognition for maintenance standards that exceeded unit requirements. Rodriguez acknowledged her technical competence, while noting that upcoming operations would test multiple aspects of soldier capability simultaneously. The captain's balanced assessment reflected awareness of Maya's strengths while maintaining realistic expectations about physical challenges that would affect all unit members during extended combat operations. Maya's fellow soldiers began securing their equipment and preparing for the afternoon training exercise, their conversations reflecting the mixture of professional assessment and social dynamics that characterized military units preparing for deployment. The morning's interactions had reinforced existing perceptions about Maya's role within the unit while providing additional evidence of her technical competence and dedication to exceeding minimum standards. The persistent question remained whether these qualities would prove sufficient during actual combat operations that would test every aspect of soldier capability. The afternoon heat intensified as soldiers prepared for a training exercise that would simulate reconnaissance patrol conditions, including full combat loads and movement across terrain that replicated expected operational environments. Maya assembled her equipment with the same methodical attention that characterized all her military activities, checking each item multiple times to ensure proper configuration and weight distribution. Her pack remained noticeably smaller than those carried by larger soldiers, though its contents included all required items. plus additional supplies she had determined necessary for mission success. The training exercise would provide another opportunity for unit leaders to evaluate Maya's performance under conditions that approximated actual combat operations. Previous exercises had demonstrated her ability to maintain pace during shorter movements while raising questions about endurance during extended operations. The afternoon scenario would test these concerns directly, providing empirical data about her physical capability under realistic operational conditions. Morrison briefed the unit on exercise objectives and evaluation criteria, emphasizing the importance of maintaining unit cohesion and mutual support during movements across hostile territory. His instructions reflected tactical principles developed through multiple combat deployments, where individual limitations could create vulnerabilities that affected overall mission success. The exercise would evaluate both individual performance and collective effectiveness under conditions designed to replicate actual operational challenges. Maya listened to the briefing with focused attention, her preparation including detailed study of the exercise scenario and terrain, features that would influence tactical decisions during the movement. Her intellectual engagement with training requirements demonstrated commitment to excellence that extended beyond minimum compliance with orders. This systematic approach to preparation reflected qualities that could contribute meaningfully to unit effectiveness during actual operations. The exercise began with Maya taking her assigned position in the patrol formation, her equipment properly configured and her weapon ready for immediate use. The initial movement proceeded across relatively flat terrain that allowed all unit members to establish pace and rhythm without significant physical stress. Maya maintained her position in formation without difficulty, demonstrating mobility that met minimum requirements while avoiding behaviors that might create additional burdens for other soldiers. As the patrol moved into more challenging terrain, the physical demands increased significantly. Elevation changes and difficult footing multiplied the effects of carrying heavy equipment, testing endurance and strength in ways that revealed individual capabilities and limitations. Maya's smaller frame became more apparent as the exercise progressed, though she continued maintaining position through determination and careful conservation of energy. Morrison monitored Maya's performance closely, observing signs of fatigue that might indicate approaching physical limitations. His evaluation focused on identifying points where individual struggles might begin affecting unit performance, requiring intervention to maintain tactical integrity. The balance between pushing soldiers to their limits and preventing failures that could compromise mission success remained a persistent challenge in training exercises designed to replicate combat conditions. Williams observed unit dynamics as physical stress increased, noting how individual limitations affected group cohesion and mutual support. His tactical experience provided insight into scenarios where one soldier's struggles could create vulnerabilities that enemy forces might exploit during actual operations. The training exercise served multiple purposes, including evaluation of individual capabilities and assessment of unit responses to challenging conditions. Maya's performance during the final, demanding phases of the exercise demonstrated both strengths and limitations that characterized her military service. Her determination to maintain pace and position reflected mental toughness that could prove valuable during actual operations, while her obvious physical stress raised questions about sustainability during extended missions. The complex relationship between individual capability and collective effectiveness remained a central concern for unit leaders. The exercise continued with scenarios designed to test multiple aspects of soldier capability simultaneously, including tactical decision-making under physical stress, equipment management during rapid movements, and maintenance of alertness despite fatigue. Maya's responses demonstrated competence in areas that didn't depend directly on physical strength, while revealing limitations that became more apparent as exercise intensity increased. Torres provided encouragement to struggling unit members. Through humor and informal support, his morale-building efforts serving important functions during challenging training scenarios. His interactions with Maya reflected the complex social dynamics that influenced unit cohesion, balancing recognition of her determination with awareness of physical limitations that affected her performance. The subtle distinctions in his treatment suggested ongoing evaluation of Maya's role within unit social structures. Santos evaluated Maya's psychological responses to increasing physical stress, observing qualities that might prove more important than pure strength during actual combat operations. Combat effectiveness often depended on mental resilience and adaptability rather than obvious physical capabilities, factors that weren't immediately apparent through casual observation. Her assessment focused on identifying psychological strengths that could contribute to unit effectiveness despite physical limitations. Rodriguez monitored the exercise from multiple vantage points, observing both individual performance and unit dynamics under conditions designed to replicate operational challenges. Her evaluation balanced recognition of Maya's determination and competence with realistic assessment of physical limitations that could affect mission success during actual operations. The captain's responsibility for unit safety required careful consideration of all factors that influenced operational effectiveness. The training exercise concluded with Maya having maintained position in formation despite obvious physical stress, demonstrating determination that earned recognition from unit leaders while confirming concerns about endurance during extended operations. Her performance reflected the complex balance between individual capability and collective requirements that characterized modern military operations. The persistent questions about physical capability remained unresolved, though her demonstration of mental toughness provided positive indicators for future performance. Maya's fellow soldiers secured their equipment and prepared for the return movement to base, their conversations reflecting various assessments of the afternoon's performance. Some comments acknowledged her determination and effort, while others expressed concerns about sustainability during actual operations that would exceed training exercise parameters. The mixture of respect and skepticism that characterized unit attitudes toward Maya remained unchanged despite her continued demonstration of competence in areas where individual effort could overcome physical limitations. The evening debrief session provided opportunity for formal evaluation of exercise performance and identification of areas requiring improvement before actual deployment. Maya participated in the discussion with the same focused attention that characterized all her military activities, accepting feedback with professionalism while internally processing assessments that would influence her preparation for upcoming operations. Her responses demonstrated maturity and self-awareness that suggested capacity for continued development, despite acknowledged limitations. Morrison's evaluation emphasized Maya's technical competence and determination while maintaining realistic expectations about physical challenges that would affect her performance during extended combat operations. His assessment reflected professional responsibility for unit effectiveness, balanced with recognition of individual strengths that could contribute meaningfully to mission success. The complex evaluation process required consideration of multiple factors that influenced overall unit capability. Williams contributed tactical perspective based on his assessment of unit performance under stress, noting areas where individual limitations had affected group dynamics and collective effectiveness. His observations provided valuable feedback for future training while highlighting persistent concerns about balance between individual capability and unit requirements. The ongoing evaluation process reflected the military's systematic approach to personnel development and assignment. Maya's preparation for upcoming deployment continued with the same methodical attention that characterized all her military activities. Her systematic approach to training and equipment management demonstrated dedication that could potentially compensate for physical limitations through superior preparation and technical competence. The question remained whether these qualities would prove sufficient during actual combat operations that would test every aspect of soldier capability under conditions that exceeded training parameters. The unit's social dynamics continued evolving as deployment approached, with Maya's position remaining somewhat ambiguous despite demonstrated competence in areas that contributed meaningfully to overall capability. Her fellow soldiers had developed grudging respect for her determination and technical skills, while maintaining reservations about her physical suitability for reconnaissance operations. The complex relationships reflected broader questions about military effectiveness and the balance between individual capability and collective requirements. Camp Razorback's evening routine provided opportunity for informal interactions that influenced unit cohesion and morale during the final weeks before deployment. Maya participated in these social activities while maintaining awareness of her position within group dynamics that would affect operational effectiveness during actual missions. Her careful navigation of social relationships demonstrated interpersonal skills that complemented her technical competence and determination. The persistent heat and challenging conditions at Camp Razorback served as constant reminders of the environmental factors that would multiply operational challenges during upcoming missions. Maya's adaptation to these conditions demonstrated resilience that could prove valuable during actual operations, while the obvious physical stress experienced by all unit members highlighted the demanding nature of combat operations in hostile environments. The balance between individual preparation and collective readiness remained a central focus as deployment approached. Maya's evening routine included additional physical conditioning that reflected her systematic approach to addressing acknowledged limitations through individual effort and preparation. Her dedication to exceeding minimum fitness standards demonstrated commitment to unit effectiveness that earned recognition from leaders, while highlighting the extra effort required to maintain capability despite physical constraints. The ongoing development process reflected both personal determination and professional responsibility for contributing meaningfully to unit success. The training cycle continued with Maya's performance, demonstrating both strengths and limitations that characterized her military service, while unit leaders balanced recognition of her contributions with realistic assessment of capabilities that would determine assignment decisions. The complex evaluation process reflected the military's commitment to maximizing effectiveness while ensuring individual soldier development and opportunity. Maya's position within this system remained dependent on continued demonstration of value that could justify assignment to demanding operational roles, despite acknowledged physical limitations. The intelligence briefing arrived at 0600 hours on a Tuesday. That would forever change how the 2nd Infantry Division viewed combat capability. Captain Rodriguez stood before a room filled with grim faces as she outlined the situation that had developed. Overnight in Sector 7, a mountainous region 20 kilometers northeast of Camp Razorback, where insurgent activity had increased dramatically over the past 72 hours. Drone surveillance had identified a high-value target moving through the area with a small convoy, presenting an opportunity for capture that could provide critical intelligence about planned attacks against coalition forces. The mission would require a 6-person reconnaissance team to establish observation positions in terrain that offered excellent concealment but demanded exceptional physical endurance to reach and maintain. Maya listened to the briefing with the focused intensity that had become her trademark, her mind already processing the tactical challenges and equipment requirements that would determine mission success. The target area lay across terrain that would test every aspect of soldier capability, including a 4-mile approach march through rocky hills followed by a steep climb to observation positions, nearly 1,000 feet above the valley floor. Morrison studied the topographical maps with professional concern. His experience in similar operations providing insight into the physical demands that would affect team performance during the extended mission. The approach route offered no opportunities for vehicle support, requiring soldiers to carry all necessary equipment across terrain that would challenge even the most physically capable team members. His assessment of individual soldier suitability for the mission reflected realistic evaluation of capabilities under demanding conditions. Williams analyzed the tactical aspects of the mission, identifying factors that would influence team effectiveness during the critical observation phase. The elevated positions offered excellent visibility of target movement routes, while creating vulnerability to detection if team members couldn't maintain concealment during extended periods. Mission success would depend on each soldier's ability to remain motionless for hours while maintaining alertness despite physical discomfort and fatigue. Rodriguez announced team assignments that reflected careful consideration of individual capabilities and mission requirements. Morrison would lead the team as senior non-commissioned officer, while Williams would serve as assistant team leader and primary radio operator. Torres would handle demolitions and backup communications, while Martinez would provide medical support and additional firepower. Santos would serve as team sniper, utilizing her specialized training and equipment for long-range observation and potential engagement. The final team position remained unannounced as Rodriguez consulted her notes, creating momentary tension among soldiers who recognized that someone would be left behind despite mission requirements for 6 team members. Maya waited with outward calm, while internally preparing for disappointment that had characterized most opportunities for meaningful operational assignments. Her past exclusions from similar missions had established patterns that suggested her small frame would again be considered a liability. Rodriguez's announcement that Maya would fill the 6th team position as backup radio operator and intelligence specialist created surprised silence among soldiers who had expected her to remain at base camp during the high-priority mission. The captain's decision reflected complex calculations that balanced mission requirements with available personnel capabilities, acknowledging Maya's technical competence while accepting risks associated with her physical limitations. Morrison's immediate objection focused on practical concerns about Maya's ability to maintain pace during the approach march while carrying the additional communication equipment required for backup radio operations. His responsibility for team safety required conservative assessment of individual capabilities, particularly during missions where one soldier's limitations could compromise overall effectiveness. The mathematics remained unforgiving. Maya would carry proportionally heavier loads across more demanding terrain than any previous assignment. Williams supported Morrison's concerns while acknowledging Maya's technical qualifications for the intelligence specialist role. His tactical experience suggested that backup radio operations might prove critical during missions where primary communications failed or became compromised. Maya's demonstrated competence with electronic systems could provide valuable redundancy, though questions remained about her physical ability to reach observation positions while carrying additional equipment. Rodriguez addressed the objections with explanations that revealed broader considerations affecting team composition decisions. Recent personnel rotations had reduced available options for mission assignments, while Maya's intelligence training provided capabilities that other team members lacked. The captain's analysis included factors beyond pure physical capability, recognizing that mission success often depended on diverse skill sets rather than uniform physical characteristics. Santos contributed her assessment based on observations of Maya's performance during recent training exercises, noting qualities that might prove valuable during extended operations. Her experience managing diverse groups suggested that psychological resilience often mattered more than obvious physical advantages, particularly during missions that tested mental toughness alongside physical endurance. Maya's demonstrated determination could potentially compensate for size disadvantages through superior preparation and focus. Maya's response to team selection reflected the professionalism that had characterized her military service, accepting assignment responsibilities without expressions of gratitude or acknowledgement of the controversy surrounding her inclusion. Her preparation began immediately with systematic review of mission requirements and equipment specifications, applying the methodical approach that had earned recognition despite persistent questions about physical capability. The mission equipment list revealed the scope of challenges facing team members during the extended operation. Each soldier would carry standard combat loads including weapons, ammunition, and protective equipment, plus specialized gear required for reconnaissance operations. Communication equipment, optical devices, and extended mission supplies would increase load weights significantly beyond normal patrol configurations. Maya's equipment allocation included backup radio systems, weighing nearly 15 pounds plus batteries and accessories that would add several more pounds to her total load. The intelligence specialist role required additional electronic devices for data collection and transmission, creating equipment burdens that would test her physical limits during the demanding approach march. Her total load would exceed 90 pounds, nearly matching her body weight, while other team members carried proportionally lighter burdens. The preparation phase revealed Maya's systematic approach to addressing physical challenges through intelligent equipment management and careful load distribution. Her modifications to standard carrying configurations reflected creative problem-solving that minimized stress points while maintaining access to critical equipment. These adaptations demonstrated engineering thinking that could benefit other team members facing similar challenges with heavy equipment loads. Morrison conducted individual equipment inspections that evaluated both technical readiness and practical considerations affecting soldier performance during extended operations. His examination of Maya's gear revealed thorough preparation and attention to detail that exceeded minimum requirements, though concerns remained about sustainability during the physically demanding mission phases. The balance between recognizing competence and maintaining realistic expectations continued to characterize leadership assessment of her capabilities. Williams contributed tactical perspective during team planning sessions, identifying mission phases where individual limitations might affect collective performance. His analysis included contingency planning for scenarios where team members experienced equipment failures or physical difficulties during critical mission periods. The systematic approach to risk management reflected professional responsibility for mission success and personnel safety. Torres attempted to maintain unit morale through humor that acknowledged mission challenges while building confidence in team capabilities. His jokes about equipment loads and terrain difficulties served typical functions of reducing tension and promoting group cohesion during pre-mission preparation. The underlying dynamics reflected social relationships that would influence team performance during actual operations. Martinez prepared medical supplies and procedures for treating injuries or health problems that might occur during extended operations in remote terrain. His assessment included specific consideration of factors that could affect smaller team members differently than larger soldiers, recognizing that individual physiological differences might create unique medical challenges. The comprehensive approach to medical preparation reflected professional standards for supporting diverse personnel during demanding operations. The final mission briefing provided detailed information about enemy capabilities, terrain features, and weather conditions that would influence tactical decisions during the operation. Maya absorbed this information with characteristic intensity, her preparation including memorization of key details that might prove critical during communication, failures, or emergency situations. Her intellectual engagement with mission requirements demonstrated commitment that could potentially compensate for physical limitations. Rodriguez concluded the briefing with emphasis on mission objectives and success criteria that would guide decision-making during the operation. The primary goal involved gathering intelligence about enemy movements and capabilities, while secondary objectives included assessment of terrain features for future operations. Mission success would depend on team effectiveness in achieving these goals, while maintaining operational security and personnel safety. The team departed Camp Razorback before dawn, moving across desert terrain that gradually transitioned rocky hills as they approached the target area. Maya maintained her position in the formation during initial movement phases, her careful pace management and equipment configuration allowing her to keep up despite obvious physical stress. The early stages of the mission proceeded according to plan, with all team members demonstrating capability for their assigned roles. As terrain difficulty increased, the physical demands began revealing individual strengths and limitations that would influence team dynamics throughout the remainder of the mission. Maya's breathing became more labored as elevation increased and footing became more challenging, though she continued maintaining position through determination and careful conservation of energy. Her systematic approach to physical management reflected preparation that could potentially sustain performance during extended operations. Morrison monitored team performance closely as they moved into more demanding terrain, observing signs of fatigue that might indicate approaching limitations requiring tactical adjustments. His evaluation included specific attention to Maya's condition, recognizing that her physical stress was increasing more rapidly than other team members despite comparable effort levels. The balance between pushing team members to maintain pace and preventing failures that could compromise mission success remained a constant consideration. The approach march continued through increasingly difficult terrain that tested equipment management and physical endurance simultaneously. Maya's pack weight became more apparent as slopes steepened and rocky surfaces required careful foot placement to avoid injury. Her struggle became visible to other team members, though she maintained position without requesting assistance that might compromise mission security or create additional burdens for the team. Williams observed team spacing and communication protocols as physical stress increased, noting how individual limitations affected group dynamics and tactical effectiveness. His assessment included consideration of factors that might require adjustments to mission plans if team members couldn't maintain required performance levels. The systematic evaluation process reflected professional responsibility for adapting tactics to actual capabilities rather than theoretical planning assumptions. Santos provided informal support to struggling team members through example and encouragement, her experience with diverse personnel offering perspective on individual responses to challenging conditions. Her observations suggested that psychological factors often proved more important than obvious physical characteristics during extended operations, recognizing qualities that weren't immediately apparent through casual assessment. Maya's continued determination, despite obvious difficulty, demonstrated mental toughness that could prove valuable. The team reached the base of the final climb to observation positions as morning temperatures began rising, adding heat stress to physical challenges already testing individual endurance limits. Maya's condition showed clear signs of fatigue that concerned team leaders, though she insisted on continuing without assistance that might delay mission progress. Her determination to maintain contribution to team effectiveness reflected commitment that earned recognition despite growing concerns about sustainability. Torres provided water and brief rest opportunities that allowed team members to recover, partially before beginning the steep ascent to observation positions. His assessment of Maya's condition suggested approaching limits that might require intervention to prevent medical problems or mission compromise. The balance between supporting individual needs and maintaining operational schedule created ongoing tension during mission execution. Martinez monitored physiological indicators that might suggest developing problems requiring medical intervention, his training providing insight into individual responses to extreme physical stress. His evaluation included specific consideration of factors affecting smaller personnel differently than larger team members, recognizing unique challenges that might not be apparent to soldiers without medical training. Maya's vital signs remained within acceptable ranges despite obvious distress. The final ascent to observation positions tested every aspect of individual capability as team members climbed nearly vertical terrain while carrying full equipment loads. Maya's struggle became acute as hand and footholds required strength that her small frame couldn't provide as easily as larger team members. Her continued progress reflected determination that impressed fellow soldiers while confirming concerns about physical suitability for such demanding operations. Rodriguez monitored team progress through radio communications that revealed growing challenges affecting mission timeline and personnel condition. Her responsibility for overall mission success required balancing immediate tactical needs with longer-term considerations about team capability and safety. The developing situation tested leadership skills in adapting plans to actual conditions rather than theoretical expectations. Morrison reached the primary observation position first, immediately beginning setup of surveillance equipment while monitoring team member arrivals and condition assessment. His evaluation of Maya's performance during the climb confirmed both positive and negative aspects of her contribution to team effectiveness. Her technical competence and determination had proven valuable, while physical limitations had created challenges that required ongoing management. Williams established communication protocols and began intelligence collection procedures, while assessing team readiness for extended surveillance operations. His analysis included consideration of individual capabilities for maintaining alertness and effectiveness during observation periods that might extend for many hours. Maya's arrival at the observation position represented achievement that exceeded expectations while raising questions about her capacity for sustained performance. Maya completed the climb to observation positions through sheer determination, arriving exhausted but maintaining equipment readiness and mission focus. Her achievement demonstrated capabilities that challenged assumptions about physical requirements for successful mission completion, while her obvious fatigue created concerns about sustainability during extended surveillance periods. The complex assessment reflected ongoing evaluation of performance under actual operational conditions. The team established observation positions and began surveillance operations that would test different aspects of soldier capability during extended stationary periods. Maya's technical skills with communication and intelligence equipment proved immediately valuable. Her competence with electronic systems providing capabilities that enhanced overall team effectiveness. Her contribution to mission success began shifting perceptions about value beyond pure physical capability. Surveillance operations proceeded according to plan as team members maintained concealed positions while monitoring target movement routes through sophisticated optical equipment. Maya's role as backup radio operator and intelligence specialist required sustained attention to electronic systems, while maintaining physical readiness for rapid movement if tactical situations changed. Her performance demonstrated competence that contributed meaningfully to mission objectives. The observation phase continued for several hours without significant enemy activity, testing team endurance and alertness during periods that combined physical discomfort with mental stress. Maya maintained her assigned responsibilities despite fatigue from the demanding approach march, her technical competence providing reliable backup communications and intelligence analysis that supported overall mission effectiveness. Her contribution began earning recognition from team members who had questioned her suitability for the operation. Enemy movement in the target area finally appeared during late afternoon surveillance, requiring immediate activation of communication protocols and intelligence collection procedures that tested team coordination under operational stress. Maya's technical skills proved critical during initial enemy detection and reporting. her competence with electronic systems enabling accurate information transmission that supported tactical decision-making. Her value to mission success became undeniable despite persistent questions about physical capability. The surveillance operation continued with Maya, maintaining effective performance in her assigned roles while other team members focused on observation and tactical assessment. Her technical contributions to intelligence collection and communication backup provided capabilities that enhanced team effectiveness beyond what pure physical capability could achieve. The mission demonstrated that diverse skill sets could compensate for individual limitations while contributing meaningfully to collective success. As evening approached, team leaders began planning extraction procedures that would test physical endurance during movement back to base camp. Maya's condition remained a concern given her fatigue from the approach march and extended surveillance operations, though her continued competence with assigned duties suggested capacity for completing mission requirements. The extraction phase would provide final assessment of her capability for demanding reconnaissance operations. Morrison developed extraction plans that considered individual team member conditions and capability for rapid movement across difficult terrain during hours of darkness. His assessment included specific consideration of Maya's condition and the potential need for tactical adjustments that would ensure mission completion without compromising personnel safety. The balance between operational requirements and individual limitations required careful planning and flexible execution. The intelligence collected during surveillance operations provided valuable information about enemy capabilities and intentions, validating mission objectives while creating requirements for secure transmission to higher headquarters. Maya's technical expertise proved essential during data compilation and communication procedures. Her competence with electronic systems enabling effective mission completion, despite physical challenges that had created initial doubts about her. Assignment: Williams coordinated extraction timing and movement procedures while maintaining communication with base camp about mission status and expected return timeline. His tactical planning included contingency options for supporting team members who might experience difficulties during the return movement across demanding terrain. Maya's continued effectiveness in her assigned roles provided confidence that extraction procedures could proceed according to standard protocols. Santos prepared for overwatch responsibilities during team movement back to base camp, her specialized training and equipment providing security coverage during vulnerable movement phases. Her assessment of Maya's performance throughout the mission reflected growing respect for determination and technical competence that had contributed meaningfully to overall success. The complex evaluation process continued balancing individual capabilities with collective requirements. Maya secured intelligence collection, equipment, and prepared for extraction movement while processing the day's experiences that had tested every aspect of her military capability. Her successful completion of mission requirements, despite obvious physical challenges, had demonstrated value that extended beyond pure strength or endurance. The operation provided empirical evidence about her potential contribution to future missions requiring similar diverse skill sets. Torres maintained team morale during preparation for extraction movement, his humor serving familiar functions of reducing tension while building confidence for challenging phases ahead. His observations about Maya's performance throughout the mission reflected evolving attitudes that recognized achievement beyond initial expectations. The social dynamics continued shifting as demonstrated capability modified previous assessments. Based primarily on physical characteristics, Martinez monitored team member conditions and prepared medical support for extraction movement that would again test physical endurance across difficult terrain. His assessment suggested that Maya remained capable of completing mission requirements despite fatigue, though continued monitoring would be necessary during movement phases. The medical perspective provided professional evaluation of individual capability for safe mission completion. The extraction movement began with Maya maintaining position in team formation despite obvious fatigue from the extended operation. Her determination to complete mission requirements without creating additional burdens for other team members reflected professionalism that had characterized her military service throughout the challenging assignment. The return journey would provide final evidence about her suitability for similar future operations. Team movement across darkened terrain tested navigation skills and physical endurance, while maintaining operational security in potentially hostile territory. Maya's continued effectiveness despite accumulated fatigue demonstrated resilience that impressed fellow team members and modified initial assessments about her capability for demanding reconnaissance work. Her performance suggested that diverse factors contributed to mission success beyond obvious physical characteristics. The successful completion of surveillance operations and extraction movement provided comprehensive evidence about Maya's capability for contributing to reconnaissance missions despite initial concerns about physical limitations. Her technical competence, determination, and ability to maintain effectiveness under stress had proven valuable for overall team performance. The mission demonstrated that individual worth extended beyond simple physical measurements to encompass diverse capabilities that enhanced collective effectiveness. Morrison's final assessment acknowledged Maya's valuable contributions to mission success while maintaining realistic evaluation of physical challenges that would continue affecting her performance during similar operations. His professional analysis balanced recognition of achievement with honest appraisal of limitations that required ongoing consideration during future assignment decisions. The complex evaluation reflected evolving understanding of diverse factors that influenced operational effectiveness. Maya's successful completion of the demanding reconnaissance mission had challenged assumptions about physical requirements while demonstrating technical competence and determination that contributed meaningfully to team effectiveness. Her performance provided evidence that diverse capabilities could compensate for individual limitations while enhancing overall mission capability. The operation marked a significant step in ongoing evaluation of her potential for continued service in demanding operational roles. The explosion shattered the desert morning with devastating force, sending rocks and debris cascading down the mountainside as Maya and her team completed their extraction from the observation post. What had begun as a routine return journey to base camp instantly transformed into a nightmare scenario that would test every aspect of human endurance and determination. The improvised explosive device had been perfectly positioned along their predetermined route, suggesting enemy intelligence about their movement patterns that caught even experienced soldiers completely off guard. Morrison lay motionless against a boulder 30 meters from the blast crater, his massive frame crumpled at an unnatural angle that immediately revealed the severity of his injuries. Blood pooled beneath his head where shrapnel had penetrated his helmet, while his left leg bent awkwardly where the explosion's force had snapped bone and torn muscle. His radio equipment lay scattered across the rocky terrain, destroyed beyond any possibility of repair or communication with base camp. Williams had been thrown against a cliff face by the blast's concussion, his body sliding down rough stone that stripped away gear and opened wounds across his back and arms. His groans echoed off the surrounding rocks as consciousness returned slowly, revealing damage that extended far beyond visible injuries. The team's primary radio operator struggled to focus his vision while blood from a head wound clouded his sight, making assessment of their tactical situation nearly impossible. Santos remained conscious but trapped beneath fallen rocks that the explosion had dislodged from the cliff above their position. Her sniper rifle lay broken beside her while she fought to maintain awareness despite obvious signs of internal injuries that threatened to worsen without immediate medical intervention. Her training in battlefield medicine provided enough knowledge to recognize symptoms that indicated serious trauma requiring evacuation to proper medical facilities. Maya found herself the only team member capable of movement, her smaller frame having absorbed less impact from the blast that had devastated her larger companions. Her equipment remained largely intact, though her backup radio had suffered damage that left communication capabilities severely limited. The reality of their situation settled over her with crushing weight as she assessed casualties that exceeded any scenario covered in training exercises. Torres and Martinez had taken positions further from the blast site, their injuries less severe but still significant enough to prevent normal movement across the demanding terrain that separated them from medical assistance. Torres clutched his shoulder where shrapnel had torn through muscle and bone, while Martinez struggled with abdominal pain that suggested internal damage requiring urgent surgical intervention. Neither man possessed the mobility necessary for self-evacuation across 5 miles of mountainous desert. The tactical situation deteriorated rapidly as enemy forces began appearing on ridgelines above their position, drawn by the explosion that had been designed to create exactly this vulnerability. Maya counted at least 8 fighters moving into positions that would provide overlapping fields of fire across the blast area. Their window for escape was closing quickly as enemy forces established tactical advantages that would make movement increasingly dangerous. Maya's assessment of available options revealed the stark reality of their circumstances. The damaged radio could transmit distress signals, but lacked sufficient power for sustained communication with base camp. Enemy forces were establishing positions that would prevent rescue helicopters from landing safely in the immediate area. Medical supplies from the team's kits could provide temporary treatment, but wouldn't address the serious trauma affecting multiple team members. Morrison's condition required immediate medical evacuation, his head injuries creating symptoms that indicated increasing intracranial pressure. Williams needed surgical intervention for internal injuries that field medicine couldn't address adequately. Santos required extraction from the rock fall before circulation problems caused permanent damage to trapped limbs. The scope of medical needs exceeded anything that could be handled in their current location. Maya established communication with base camp using the damaged radio's limited capabilities, transmitting coordinates and casualty reports that painted a desperate picture of their tactical situation. The response confirmed her worst fears about rescue operations. Enemy activity in the area prevented immediate helicopter evacuation, while ground forces would require several hours to fight through hostile territory to reach their position. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled through static as she outlined rescue plans that depended on Maya's ability to move the wounded team members to an alternate extraction site 3 miles away. The new location offered better landing zones for helicopters while remaining outside the range of enemy forces establishing positions around the blast site. The plan required movement across terrain that would challenge healthy soldiers carrying standard loads. Maya studied the route to the alternate extraction site with growing understanding of the physical demands that would test every limit of human endurance. The path led through rocky valleys and steep inclines that would require carrying wounded soldiers across terrain, where a single misstep could prove fatal. Her assessment included realistic evaluation of her own capabilities against requirements that seemed impossible for someone of her size and strength. The enemy situation continued deteriorating as more fighters appeared on surrounding ridgelines, their positions creating interlocking fields of fire that would make movement increasingly dangerous. Maya recognized tactical patterns suggesting coordinated assault preparations rather than opportunistic harassment. Their window for escape would close completely within the next hour, unless immediate action created opportunities for movement. Morrison regained consciousness with confusion and disorientation that indicated serious brain trauma requiring immediate medical intervention. His attempts to stand resulted in collapse that revealed the extent of leg injuries, preventing normal mobility. Maya's medical assessment confirmed suspicions about the severity of damage that would require complete assistance for any movement across difficult terrain. William struggled to maintain awareness as shock symptoms intensified, his pale complexion and rapid pulse indicating blood loss that field treatment couldn't address adequately. His position against the cliff face provided some protection from enemy observation but prevented easy access for movement preparation. Maya's evaluation suggested that relocating him would require techniques for moving unconscious casualties across rough terrain. Santos maintained communication with Maya despite obvious pain from the rock fall that had trapped her lower body. Her tactical experience provided valuable assessment of enemy movements and defensive options, though her immobility created additional challenges for evacuation planning. Maya's efforts to clear rocks revealed the extent of effort required to free her for movement to the extraction site. Maya began systematic preparation for moving 3 seriously wounded soldiers across 5 miles of hostile territory without assistance from healthy team members. Her planning included assessment of available materials for improvised stretchers, medical supplies for treating shock and blood loss, and tactical considerations for avoiding enemy detection during extended movement through exposed terrain. Torres provided what assistance his shoulder injury allowed, helping Maya gather equipment and supplies necessary for extended casualty evacuation. His experience with improvised solutions offered suggestions for creating transport systems from available materials, though his own condition prevented active participation in carrying wounded team members. Martinez contributed medical expertise despite abdominal injuries that limited his physical mobility. Maya's first challenge involved creating transport systems for moving unconscious casualties across terrain where conventional stretchers would prove impossible to maneuver. Her engineering background provided insight into mechanical principles for distributing weight and reducing friction during movement across rough surfaces. The improvised solutions required creativity and resourcefulness that training exercises had never addressed directly. Morrison's size and weight created the most significant transport challenge, his unconscious state requiring complete support during movement across terrain that would challenge Maya's strength and endurance to absolute limits. Her calculations indicated that moving him alone would exceed her physical capabilities, requiring techniques for mechanical advantage that could compensate for the dramatic difference in body, weight, and muscle strength. Williams required careful handling due to suspected spinal injuries that could worsen with improper movement techniques. Maya's medical training provided enough knowledge to recognize symptoms requiring specialized transport procedures, though implementing these techniques without assistance from healthy team members would test her abilities to maintain proper alignment during extended movement across uneven terrain. Santos presented different challenges due to her conscious state and ability to provide some assistance during movement preparation. Her tactical knowledge proved valuable for route planning and enemy avoidance, though her leg injuries would require complete support during actual movement phases. Maya's assessment included consideration of pain management and shock prevention during extended transport across difficult terrain. The improvised stretcher system Maya constructed from salvaged equipment and natural materials reflected creative problem-solving that addressed multiple requirements simultaneously. The design needed to distribute weight across her smaller frame while maintaining stability during movement across rocky terrain. Her engineering approach incorporated mechanical principles that could multiply force application through leverage and load distribution. Maya's physical preparation included systematic stretching and mental preparation for exertion that would test every aspect of human endurance. Her training regimen had emphasized cardiovascular fitness and core strength, but nothing had prepared her for the specific demands of carrying multiple casualties across mountainous terrain while avoiding enemy detection. The challenge exceeded any scenario covered in military training programs. The evacuation began with Maya carefully loading Morrison onto the improvised transport system, his unconscious weight requiring techniques for lifting and positioning that tested her strength limits immediately. Her systematic approach to body mechanics and leverage allowed movement that seemed impossible based on simple size comparisons, though the effort required left her already approaching fatigue levels that could affect performance during extended movement. Movement across the initial terrain proved even more challenging than Maya's worst projections, the rocky surface and steep inclines multiplying the effective weight she carried, while requiring constant attention to foot placement and balance. Morrison's condition remained stable but showed no signs of improvement that might reduce transport requirements. Maya's breathing became labored within the first 100 meters of movement. Maya's determination to continue despite obvious physical stress reflected mental toughness that impressed Torres and Martinez, who observed her progress with growing amazement at capabilities that defied their expectations. Her systematic approach to movement and rest cycles demonstrated understanding of endurance principles that could potentially sustain effort over the extended distances required for reaching the extraction site. The route to the alternate landing zone required navigation through terrain that offered concealment from enemy observation, while remaining passable for someone carrying heavy loads. Maya's choices reflected tactical thinking that balanced security requirements with movement efficiency, demonstrating competence that extended beyond pure physical capability. Her decisions showed understanding of terrain analysis and threat assessment. Williams regained consciousness during transport, his awareness allowing him to provide some assistance during movement while reducing the physical burden on Maya's smaller frame. His cooperation enabled faster movement across difficult sections where his ability to support part of his own weight created opportunities for improved progress. Maya's medical monitoring ensured that his participation didn't worsen existing injuries. Santos required separate transport that tested Maya's endurance after completing Morrison's evacuation to the first rest point. Her weight proved more manageable than Morrison's massive frame, though the accumulated fatigue from previous effort began affecting Maya's performance in ways that concerned the conscious casualties who could observe her condition. Her determination to continue exceeded rational assessment of her physical limitations. Maya's improvised harness system distributed weight across her torso and hips, utilizing biomechanical principles that maximized her body's structural strengths, while minimizing stress on smaller muscle groups. The engineering approach reflected systematic thinking that addressed physical limitations through intelligent application of force multiplication techniques. Her solutions demonstrated creativity that traditional training hadn't emphasized. The midpoint rest area provided opportunity for Maya to assess her condition and the remaining distance requirements that would determine whether her plan remained feasible. Her fatigue levels indicated approaching limits that could affect judgment and physical capability during the most challenging portions of the route ahead. The psychological pressure of knowing her teammates' lives depended on her continued performance added stress beyond pure physical demands. Enemy activity continued in the original blast area, confirming tactical assessments that evacuation had been necessary to avoid capture or elimination by hostile forces. Radio communications with base camp indicated that rescue helicopter operations remained impossible near the blast site, validating Maya's decision to attempt movement to alternate extraction points, despite the enormous physical challenges involved. Maya's continued movement with Santos demonstrated endurance that amazed conscious team members who could observe her performance despite their own serious injuries. Her pace remained steady even as visible fatigue affected her movement efficiency and breathing patterns. The systematic approach to rest and recovery cycles reflected understanding of human physiology that could potentially sustain effort over distances that exceeded normal expectations. Morrison's transport during the final phase tested Maya's absolute limits as terrain difficulty increased near the alternate extraction site. His unconscious weight combined with accumulated fatigue created conditions that pushed her beyond any previous experience with physical exertion. Her continued progress reflected determination that impressed everyone who could observe her performance, including base camp personnel monitoring radio communications. Williams provided what assistance his condition allowed during the approach to the landing zone, his conscious state enabling cooperation that reduced transport burdens on Maya's exhausted frame. His encouragement and recognition of her achievement began modifying his previous assessments about her capability for demanding military operations. The experience provided empirical evidence about diverse factors that contributed to operational effectiveness. Maya's final push to reach the extraction site with all 3 wounded teammates represented achievement that exceeded every expectation about human endurance and determination. Her successful transport of soldiers whose combined weight approached 3 times her own body weight across 5 miles of hostile terrain redefined understanding of what physical capability could accomplish through mental toughness and systematic preparation. The helicopter evacuation proceeded smoothly once Maya reached the alternate landing zone with all casualties. Her successful completion of the impossible transport mission enabling medical treatment that saved lives endangered by the enemy ambush. Medical personnel who treated the wounded soldiers expressed amazement at Maya's achievement, recognizing capabilities that challenged conventional understanding of physical limitations and human endurance. Morrison survived his head injuries due to Maya's successful evacuation that enabled emergency medical treatment within the critical time window for preventing permanent brain damage. His recovery included expressions of gratitude and recognition that his survival depended entirely on Maya's refusal to accept conventional assessments of what her small frame could accomplish under desperate circumstances. Williams recovered from his internal injuries after surgical intervention that became possible only because Maya's transport mission had delivered him to medical facilities within hours of the blast. His experience during evacuation had demonstrated Maya's tactical competence and physical capability in ways that modified his entire understanding of what constituted effective military performance under extreme conditions. Santos credited Maya with saving her life through transport that prevented circulation problems from causing permanent disability. Her tactical expertise providing professional assessment of Maya's achievement that earned respect throughout the special operations community. Her testimony about Maya's performance contributed to formal recognition that acknowledged capabilities extending far beyond conventional physical measurements. The rescue mission's success created immediate changes in military policies regarding physical standards and assignment criteria for specialized operations. Maya's demonstration that determination and intelligence could overcome apparent physical limitations influenced personnel decisions throughout the military special operations community. Her achievement provided empirical evidence about diverse factors contributing to operational effectiveness under extreme conditions. Maya's recognition included formal commendations and assignment opportunities that reflected institutional acknowledgement of her demonstrated capabilities during the institutional acknowledgement of her demonstrated capabilities during the rescue mission. Her performance had proven that individual worth extended beyond simple physical measurements to encompass determination, intelligence, and systematic preparation that could achieve results exceeding theoretical limitations based on size or strength. Comparisons. Torres and Martinez recovered from their injuries with lasting appreciation for Maya's achievement, their experience during evacuation having demonstrated capabilities that challenged their previous assumptions about physical requirements. For military effectiveness, their testimony contributed to broader cultural changes within military units regarding assessment of individual potential and recognition of diverse contributions to operational success. Captain Rodriguez initiated comprehensive reviews of personnel assignment policies and training programs that could better identify and develop capabilities like those Maya had demonstrated during the rescue mission. Her leadership recognized that the military's effectiveness depended on maximizing diverse human potential rather than limiting opportunities based on conventional physical standards that might not reflect actual operational requirements. Maya's story spread throughout the military community as evidence that individual determination could overcome apparent limitations while contributing meaningfully to mission success and the survival of fellow soldiers. Her achievement inspired policy changes and cultural shifts that created opportunities for diverse personnel to contribute their unique capabilities to military effectiveness under demanding conditions. The transformation of Maya's reputation from questioned liability to recognized hero reflected broader changes in military culture that emphasized results over appearances, determination over obvious physical advantages, and systematic preparation over simple reliance on natural gifts. Her rescue mission had proven that excellence could emerge from unexpected sources when individual capability met desperate circumstances requiring extraordinary performance. Maya's subsequent assignments included leadership positions and training, responsibilities that utilized her demonstrated capabilities while inspiring other soldiers who might face similar challenges and proving their worth despite apparent limitations. Her career trajectory exemplified the military's capacity for recognizing and developing diverse talents that contributed to overall effectiveness in ways that conventional assessment methods might overlook. The legacy of Maya's rescue mission continued influencing military personnel policies and training programs. Years after the dramatic evacuation that saved 3 lives and redefined understanding of human capability under extreme conditions, her achievement demonstrated that the most devastating force on any battlefield could indeed emerge from the most unexpected source, proving that determination and intelligence could overcome any physical limitation when lives depended on extraordinary performance. 2 years after the rescue that redefined military understanding of human capability, Maya stood before the Pentagon's most senior leadership as they unveiled the Chen Protocol, a comprehensive training and assessment program that would revolutionize how the armed forces evaluated soldier potential beyond traditional physical measurements. The program bore her name not as honorary recognition, but as acknowledgement that her impossible achievement had fundamentally altered military science regarding human performance under extreme conditions. General Patricia Hawkins addressed the assembled defense officials with gravity, befitting the significance of institutional changes that Maya's rescue mission had catalyzed throughout all branches of military service. The general's remarks emphasized how one soldier's refusal to accept limitations had exposed flaws in assessment systems that had potentially overlooked countless capable personnel based on superficial physical characteristics rather than comprehensive evaluation of diverse human capabilities. Maya's rescue of Morrison, Williams, and Santos had triggered exhaustive research into human performance factors that traditional military assessment had never systematically examined. Sports science specialists, biomechanics experts, and combat psychology researchers had studied every aspect of her achievement to understand how someone of her physical stature had accomplished feats that seemed to violate basic principles of strength and endurance limitations. Dr. Elizabeth Chun, no relation to Maya despite the shared surname, presented findings from the comprehensive study that had analyzed Maya's performance through advanced physiological monitoring and biomechanical analysis. Her research revealed that Maya's smaller frame had provided crucial advantages during the rescue mission that larger soldiers couldn't have replicated, including lower center of gravity for stability on difficult terrain and more efficient oxygen utilization during extended exertion. The biomechanical analysis demonstrated how Maya's systematic approach to load distribution and movement efficiency had enabled her to carry weights that exceeded theoretical limitations based on simple strength calculations. Her engineering background had unconsciously applied principles of mechanical advantage and force multiplication that maximized her body's capabilities while minimizing energy waste during the grueling evacuation across mountainous terrain. Colonel Richardson, who had initially questioned Maya's assignment to reconnaissance operations, now served as primary advocate for expanded opportunities for personnel who demonstrated exceptional determination and intelligence, despite apparent physical limitations. His testimony to defense committees emphasized how Maya's achievement had revealed blind spots in traditional assessment, methods that might have excluded other potentially valuable soldiers from meaningful military service. The Chun Protocol incorporated psychological assessment tools that evaluated mental resilience, systematic thinking, and determination alongside traditional physical fitness standards. Maya's demonstrated ability to exceed apparent limitations through preparation and mental toughness had proven that psychological factors often mattered more than obvious physical advantages during actual combat operations requiring extraordinary performance under desperate circumstances. Military training programs worldwide began implementing elements of the Chun Protocol that emphasized creative problem-solving and systematic preparation for overcoming individual limitations through intelligent application of available resources. Maya's improvised transport systems and movement techniques became standard curriculum for special operations training, demonstrating practical applications of engineering principles to battlefield challenges. Morrison returned to active duty. With full recovery from his traumatic brain injury, his survival directly attributed to Maya's refusal to abandon teammates despite impossible odds. His testimony before congressional committees described Maya's performance in terms that challenged lawmakers' understanding of human capability, contributing to policy changes that expanded opportunities for diverse personnel in specialized military roles. Williams assumed leadership of advanced reconnaissance training programs that incorporated lessons learned from Maya's rescue mission, his curriculum emphasizing that effective military performance depended on diverse capabilities that extended far beyond conventional physical standards. His experience during evacuation had demonstrated Maya's tactical competence alongside her extraordinary endurance, proving that multiple factors contributed to operational effectiveness. Santos became Maya's strongest advocate within the special operations community, her tactical expertise providing credible assessment of Maya's achievement that influenced personnel policies throughout elite military units. Her detailed analysis of Maya's decision-making and performance under extreme stress contributed to expanded criteria for evaluating soldier potential, based on comprehensive capability rather than simple physical measurements. Torres and Martinez established mentorship programs for soldiers facing challenges related to physical limitations or social barriers to advancement. Their own experience with Maya's rescue, providing perspective on hidden capabilities that traditional assessment methods might overlook. Their programs emphasized that excellence could emerge from unexpected sources when individuals received appropriate support and opportunities to demonstrate their unique contributions. Captain Rodriguez advanced to field-grade rank with expanded responsibilities for developing innovative training programs that identified and cultivated diverse talents within military personnel. Her leadership during Maya's integration into reconnaissance operations had demonstrated institutional benefits of maintaining open minds about individual potential, contributing to cultural changes that created opportunities for previously overlooked capabilities. Maya's assignment to the Special Operations Training Command reflected institutional recognition of her expertise in overcoming apparent limitations through systematic preparation and intelligent application of available resources. Her curriculum development work influenced training programs across all military branches, ensuring that her achievements would benefit future generations of soldiers facing similar challenges in proving their worth. The international military community studied Maya's rescue mission as evidence that human performance, under extreme conditions depended on factors that conventional assessment methods failed to adequately evaluate. NATO training standards incorporated elements of the Chun Protocol, acknowledging that effective military forces required diverse capabilities that might not be apparent through traditional physical fitness testing alone. Maya's speaking engagements at military academies worldwide emphasized that perceived limitations could become advantages when individuals refused to accept conventional definitions of possibility. Her presentations focused on systematic approaches to problem-solving and preparation that could enable extraordinary performance, regardless of initial physical characteristics or social expectations about individual capability. The Chun Leadership Institute, established at Fort Braxton, provided advanced training for military personnel who demonstrated exceptional potential despite apparent limitations that might have prevented recognition through traditional assessment methods. Maya's directorship of the Institute reflected institutional commitment to maximizing human potential rather than limiting opportunities based on superficial characteristics. Research conducted at the Institute continued revealing aspects of human performance that traditional military science had never systematically examined, including psychological factors that enabled individuals to exceed apparent physical limitations. Through determination and intelligent preparation, Maya's rescue mission had opened entirely new fields of study regarding human capability under extreme conditions. Maya's influence extended beyond military applications to civilian emergency response and disaster relief, organizations that recognized applications for her systematic approaches to overcoming resource limitations and physical challenges. Her techniques for improvised transport and efficient movement across difficult terrain became standard training for search and rescue operations worldwide. The recipient of numerous military honors including the Distinguished Service Cross, Maya's achievements had transcended individual recognition to influence institutional policies that created opportunities for countless other soldiers who might have been overlooked by traditional assessment methods. Her legacy ensured that future military effectiveness would benefit from maximizing diverse human capabilities rather than limiting potential based on conventional expectations. Maya's marriage to Dr. James Patterson, a military psychologist who had studied her rescue mission extensively, reflected personal happiness that accompanied professional recognition. Their collaborative research into human performance factors continued advancing understanding of capabilities that enabled extraordinary achievement under challenging conditions. Morrison, Williams, and Santos attended Maya's wedding ceremony, their presence serving as living testimony to the life-saving impact of her refusal to accept limitations that others had placed on her capabilities. Their friendship represented bonds forged through shared experience that had proven individual worth extended far beyond conventional physical measurements. The documentary film chronicling Maya's rescue mission reached global audiences who found inspiration in her demonstration that determination and intelligence could overcome any obstacle when lives depended on extraordinary performance. Her story encouraged individuals worldwide to challenge limitations that others might place on their potential for meaningful achievement. Maya's children would grow up in a military culture transformed by their mother's achievement, where opportunities for advancement depended on comprehensive evaluation of individual capabilities, rather than simple adherence to traditional physical standards. The institutional changes she had catalyzed ensured that future generations would benefit from expanded recognition of diverse human potential. The 10th anniversary commemoration of Maya's rescue mission brought together military leaders from around the world who credited her achievement with advancing understanding of human capability that had improved military effectiveness across all branches of service. The Chun Protocol had become standard practice for personnel assessment, ensuring that her impact would continue influencing military effectiveness for decades. Maya's final address to the commemoration ceremony emphasized that her rescue mission had succeeded because she refused to accept others' definitions of what was possible when teammates' lives hung in the balance. Her legacy reminded everyone present that the most devastating force on any battlefield remained human determination that refused to acknowledge limitations when duty demanded extraordinary performance. Today, when young soldiers face doubts about their potential due to physical characteristics or social expectations, instructors share Maya's story as proof that excellence can emerge from any source when individuals combine determination with systematic preparation and refusal to accept conventional limitations. Her rescue of 3 wounded comrades across impossible terrain had proven that being different wasn't weakness, but often the key to achieving what others considered impossible. Maya Chun had silenced every critic who ever questioned her small frame by demonstrating that true strength comes from refusing to accept limitations others place on human potential. Her impossible rescue mission redefined military understanding of what individuals could achieve when determination met desperate circumstances requiring extraordinary performance. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.